So there's nothing worse than going on a trip and realizing you didn't pack everything you need. Hello everyone, my name is Trevor and welcome to Pier Runners. I upload daily Carnival related content. This includes news, tips, tricks, hacks, my own personal travel vlog. So if you want to stay informed of what's going on in the cruising world, in my life, or whatever, you are in the right place. I'm also the co-host of, well, the most magnificent... Oh, this is great. I'm also the co-host of Carnival Cruising Podcastaways. That's where we talk about tips, tricks, the ins and outs of Carnival Cruising. It's the greatest podcast that is a Carnival Cruising podcast. We interview folks from all around the cruising world. We talk to the people that make the fun ships fun. So if you want to know more about that, you can find us at any of your podcast networks and all that stuff. So definitely check us out there. Today's question of the day is, what is the one thing you can't live without on a cruise? For me, it's an e-reader. I love to read when cruising and when I'm relaxing. So there's been cruises where, and I've done this more than once, where I've gone off and I've forgotten my, look, he's driving away. Where I've forgotten my poor e-reader. So I'm going to kind of go into my packing list and things that I think are important for you to bring when you are going on a cruise. So remember that this list is not one size fits all. My first thing is theme party attire. You're going to want to know what themes are going on with your cruise. I typically look up and see who my cruise director is, and I follow them on Facebook, and usually you can kind of figure out what the themes are for your cruise, and I plan ahead. So if you have 80s night, yeah, not too bad. A lot of ships have is like an 80s night or a white night or silent parties, and so you can have your attire all ready. The second thing that I recommend you having is a over-the-door organizer. This may seem kind of random and maybe out of place, and this is one of those things that I used to bring but I no longer bring. And what I'm going to explain might make a little bit more sense here. We put these up in the bathrooms. When I was packing 4 people into a room, this was a great way to keep everything organized. So everyone would have their own space, everyone have their own pocket, and so you could just kind of set it up that way. And so you can kind of keep toiletries and everything in order. A lot easier if you have something like this. Now that it's just my wife and I that are going to be in a room, things are a little bit easier to organize, and so we don't care about this too much now. So we don't ever bring these now. But back in the day, these were definitely on our list. The next thing is bring some comfortable shoes. I know that it doesn't look like I'm advertising shoes here, but I am. So bring comfy shoes, especially when you're going to the beach. There are some beaches that the sand is kind of soft and you kind of sink into. And yeah, I would definitely bring some nice tennis shoes or something along those lines. That way you do not have any trouble getting around in your flip-flops. To go along with your shoes, I recommend some socks. I always bring some wacky socks or some appropriate socks for, you know, an elegant night or something like that. But I definitely recommend bringing some good socks to go along with your shoes. You don't want to get blisters while you're out and about. So definitely bring some good socks. The next thing I recommend is a good beach bag. Something you can pack all your stuff away in and be easy to transport all your stuff. Now, you can also bring a backpack. I recommend these for 2 reasons, so keep this in mind. Pack your bag or your backpack in your luggage and keep it empty. That way, when you're getting off the boat, you can use that backpack for all the things you bought while you were on your trip. The next thing I recommend is bring a good book. If you're a reader like me, then you will definitely want to bring this. Like I said before, I absolutely love reading while I'm relaxing. And so this is something that I highly recommend. Do not always trust that the cruise ships are going to have a good selection of books in the library. They don't typically. It's usually the libraries are kind of comprised of books that were left behind. So yeah, sometimes they're not that great, especially when you're like me and you're just kind of picky about what books you like to read. So I highly, highly recommend bringing a good book. Something I want to mention, which is kind of exciting, we have now 78 subscribers. We have been pushing and pushing for 100 subscribers. We're getting closer. So close, guys. So close. It's a YouTube thing. You get the 100 subscribers and you get little features unlocked, and that's what we're going for, is these features. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Definitely, I'm definitely going to be cutting back on how many times we bring this up in videos once we hit that goal. So if you are able to, please subscribe. We have a lot of fun content coming down the road, and I am excited to what the future brings for us. This one is a must. Sunscreen. Definitely bring some sunscreen. My son has learned. He's a redheaded, light-skinned boy, and he burns so easily in the sun, and you are going to get it 10 times worse when you are cruising in the Caribbean. So definitely keep this in mind. Doesn't really matter where you're cruising, but bring some sunscreen. You're near that equator, especially. Bring sunscreen. The next thing I recommend is Wrinkle Releaser Spray. Don't bring an iron. They're not going to let you use it typically. They don't want anything like that. If they find it, they're going to probably take it out of your luggage. Wrinkle Release Spray allows you to spray your clothing and get the wrinkles out. So when you've packed away your elegant night stuff and you want to make sure that you get the wrinkles out from being sitting in your luggage or something, then this is what you should use. You can also give your clothes to your room steward, and typically at a price, they can take care of your clothing as well. The next item on the list is Sea-Bands, or some kind of medication that goes along with motion sickness. Now, I've been on several cruises. I've been on 10 so far, and I'm going to tell you right now that there are a lot of cruises I don't really worry about motion sickness, because most of the time I'm okay. But there have been times where I've gotten just out of nowhere, just randomly sick, and you do not want to go through that for very long. So it's always good to have some medication or Sea-Bands. If you've used Sea-Bands before, definitely comment that down below. It's something I'm going to be trying on my next cruise in a couple of weeks, and yeah, I'm really interested on how this works and if it works really at all. The last item, this is number 10 on our list, is your boarding passes and your passport. Now, here's a bit of a tip. Do not pack these in your check luggage when you're getting on the boat, because you're going to need it in the cruise terminal. If you give the porters your passport and boarding information, it's highly unlikely that you're going on the cruise. Your luggage is going on the cruise. You, however, are not. Now, I'm sure there's a way they can get it, but that's such a bother. That's such a bother. And so, yeah, you just want to make sure that you do not go through this. I highly recommend that you pack your passport and boarding information in something other than your checked luggage. Do you know of any tips of things that you absolutely need to bring? Definitely pop those down below, and we may go over them in a future episode. Again, this is Trevor Shelby with Pier Runners. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please consider subscribing, but most importantly, know that you matter, you are significant, and you are loved. I'll see you all next time. See ya.